The next part of the video would ordinarily be done underneath the sink, but for sake of clarity, we're going to show you the connections above the sink so you get a really clear idea of how the connections take place and in what sequence. So first, we'll look at the circle plate. You'll notice it has a pre-drilled hole, and this is where the flexible white acidic hose will go, and then it's got a slot. This is where the connector wire will sit. So let's install the circle plate. You simply thread the acidic hose through the pre-drilled hole and then the circle plate onto the alkaline tube. The connector wire just lays loosely in that slotted fitting. Next, we'll use the brass nut on the end of the alkaline tube and we'll thread that on. This will secure the circle plate against the bottom of the sink and actually hold your Delphi faucet in place. So this is how it would look. The sink would actually be in between the circle plate and the Delphi faucet, and the bolt will tighten those all together and hold your Delphi faucet firmly in place. Next, we'll use the quick connect fittings to connect the hoses to the Delphi faucet. First, we'll use the smaller of the two quick connect fittings to the white acidic hose, and we'll simply just push and then give it a tug to make sure that it's properly seated. And then the larger of the two onto the alkaline tube, again making sure it's properly seated. Next, we'll connect the tubes to the quick connect. First, we'll do the smaller of the two, the acidic water hose, to the smaller of the quick connect fittings. Again, always checking to make sure you've got a nice, tight, secure connection. And then the larger of the two hoses to the alkaline water tube and the larger quick connect fitting. Checking to make sure. And lastly, we'll connect up the power connector cord. And that's got a little snap on it to make sure that it stays connected. If you have a faulty connection here, your Delphi faucet won't operate. This is what a completed Delphi installation would look like in a cross-section of your sink. At the sink, you've got the Delphi faucet anchored to the sink top. Underneath, you'd have the circle plate with the acidic hose running through the pre-drilled hole and the nut holding the circle plate firmly up against the bottom of the sink. And then, of course, you've got your wire connector, the alkaline tube with the larger quick connector and the alkaline hose, the larger of the two white hoses, and the acidic hose, the smaller of the two white hoses, with the smaller connector and the smaller acidic hose running down to the ionizing unit. Let's take a quick tour of the touch control pad at the top of the Delphi faucet. The power, acidic, alkaline, and purified. The way the touch control pad works is very intuitive and just what it says. To select any of the different functions, you simply tap it, just like this. And that will activate that particular function on the ionizing unit. And we'll show you that when the Delphi faucet is fully installed.